Startup ecosystem, what the idea is that you have to learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America. We do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Start Up on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Start Up on the Blocks.
Welcome everybody. How's everybody doing? I'm glad to be here on a Thursday night. We've been doing this for 5.5 years, going on 6 years, and it's a labor of love. And so the good news for everyone, we've learned a lot that we can share and help you move forward in your startup or nonprofit journey, and definitely happy to do so. Tonight we're going to talk about the nonprofit playbook. I had scheduled Cheryl to be on tonight, but she's actually scheduled for next week. She's out of town. We're doing her nonprofit up in New York. Her and her husband been doing working with youth in AAU track and field, and they've got national recognition for their work. So I'm looking forward to having her on next week, and we wish them luck and success up in New York today. So, but I've been working, partnering with her over the last few months, and I'll share some of the things that we've learned, and also share the workflows that I use to generate information for founders, leveraging AI. And it's actually came a long way. We have a historical pattern engine that we can go out and research any nonprofit, any startup, or any industry, and pull in information that can actually help you. And some of the stuff you'll see tonight is basically a result of that. And I'll share the notebooks, Notebook LM notebooks with you, and kind of show you how you can leverage these tools to get a great understanding of your efforts and some ideas to move forward. Some stuff I'm going to show you tonight. Some of you may believe it, some of you may not. But it's, I can at least tell you it's a good, another way to look at things, and hopefully it will be helpful and beneficial to you. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So like I said, this is what we're talking about tonight. And next week we'll have Cheryl on, and like I said, we're looking forward to that, and apologize for the mix up with her tonight. And then the following week, we'll have Ray back on. He's going to give some insight on the ChatGPT store. And Ray works this AI stuff 24/7. So we're looking forward to getting him back on so he can share some of his expertise and the success he's having in this area. Give a little shout out to our partners and sponsors. And one thing you'll find tonight is that the playbook for nonprofits is almost identical to the playbooks for startups. And part of that playbook is leveraging partnerships to build capacity. So we're a small nonprofit, but I don't even have all our partners on here. Like one of our partners for our training programs, and certificate program is Florida State University at Panama City thing. And so that's a partner that allows us to offer anybody here in Northwest Florida cover the cost of their certificate and cover the cost of their training to get those technical certificates. That's pretty significant. And so like you see CODA in the middle here, we partner with them in order to give you 6 months free of their software. And CODA is a doc spelled backwards. So it brings all your documents, all your stuff from all your cloud applications, you name it, into one doc. And it has AI built in. And it's also owned by Grammarly, if you didn't know that. Startup Science, the light bulb there, I had one of the founders call me today, and she was ramping and raving about how great that product is. And as being a part of our program, you get access to that. And it's literally got all the resources that you need for building a startup. It's got the money stuff in there. It's got the sample document stuff in there. It's got the training, the phases you go through. You build your profile for your startup or business, and it's just an excellent tool. Got millions of dollars was poured in, and I partnered with them to help them because they wanted to build something that could help you. So I partnered with them to make sure the stuff was in there that could help you move forward. I could go on and on about these partners and how they help you build capacity. And for our program, we also have sponsors. We got a big event coming up next month, the Founders Innovation Summit and Tour, and that's going to be a great event. And that's where you can participate in person. We can hold about 100 people in person, but we can hold up to 1,000 online. So there is no excuse, as my high school basketball coach would say. There's no excuse. All right, and so it's sweet of the training stuff that we offer, and so just so you know, you don't have no excuse for not getting the knowledge you all have. And so I can tell you that what most people think of building a startup is they don't have the correct idea about it. What most people think of starting a nonprofit, it's different than what you think. Even if you have one, it's still, you may find out it's literally different than what you think. You have some ideas about what's going on, but so I'll show you some things tonight, and you can see if you agree with me. But all this stuff boils down to is that there is an ecosystem out there, ecosystems for startups and an ecosystem for nonprofits. And depending on which field your nonprofit is in, there's ecosystems for directly for that. And depending on what industry your startup is in, there's industry for that. So what you have to do is you have to learn about this ecosystem and all the tools and resources that they offer. And it's not as it's something you can get an idea about, but what you really you don't understand until you start taking advantage of. Got an email today from F6S, and so F as in Frank's, 6 as in the number 6, S as in Sam.com. A few years ago, they used to give away a coupon for $25,000 in AWS credits. So got the email today that they're back with the credit from Amazon again, but they're starting off at $5,000. But once you and that's literally, you just have your profile on this site, and you build up your profile, so and you can get the code to get 5,000, and you don't have to be a member of no program or anything. And so that's the beauty. behind that. But you do have to learn about the ecosystem and how it works. And it only speaks one language, and that's the language of the lean canvas. And so when you pitch your entire business model that's representing your lean canvas, not your product or service. If you're pitching your product or service to the ecosystem, you pitch to the ecosystem to get help. You pitch to your customers to you do a sales pitch. It's a totally different pitch. But when you're building a startup or a nonprofit, you pitch to get partners. You pitch to all these partners and people that help you. They're there to help you build capacity. It's all about capacity. If you don't have no capacity, you don't exist. If you don't have the ability to do something, you don't exist. And one way to get capacity is partnering. And so that, but you also, as you see on here, is startup. You see there's milestones and there's life cycles. You have to understand that stuff because until you reach certain milestones, you shouldn't be asking for funding. So you are, and if you're in a certain startup cycle or phase, you shouldn't be trying to do stuff that's 3 or 4 phases out. You have to learn the process, and it's literally the key to unlocking these resources in the ecosystem. And you have to become aware of these things. And I think this is all I'll show you on this for now. But I just wanted to make sure that you understand. I have a couple of graphics I want to show. Let's see. And one, what I'm talking about a lot is mindset. So in the nonprofit world, there's mindsets, and in the startup world, there are mindsets. And so you have to learn these mindsets. Otherwise, you're dead in the water, because these mindsets are the things that actually make a difference. And so the mindsets have changed over the years. And it's just like we were talking about the same thing with the startups. In the 1990s, there was a certain mindset that entrepreneurs and founders had. So now that mindset is totally different. Same thing you see here, the charity mindset in the 1990s. And so if you're running a nonprofit and think you're working off charity, that mindset is way behind the times. The same thing with the 2010s. It was all about data, and had the impact mindset. And now in the age of AI, it's about impact architecture. How can you, as a nonprofit leader or a founder, architect a system that actually works and gives impact? So that's what I'll say about that one. I'll show you, let's see what else we got. So this one's called the evolution of impact. And so it's the same thing, but it's just in the 1990s, you were a service provider. And then in 2010, it was evidence-based operator. You still were operator and doing your work, but now it's all about leveraging AI to kind of move forward. So the errors, the expectation for each era is different. So and the AI literally helps you move forward. And so this is kind of giving you an idea of what the current playbook is. So if you're still using one of the old playbooks, so it's basically saying this is before money, before anything. You have to understand what the problem is by observing what's going on in the community. And in my case, with the Startup Founder Best Practices and the work we do with startups and nonprofit, what I realized in building my for-profit startup, that and the whole system, people were complaining about the funding for Black founders and women founders and minority founders. But I never heard them complain about, I don't know what to do. I don't know how how to pitch correctly. I don't know this and I don't know that. And so what I focused on was learning the best practice. I didn't worry about what I knew wasn't going to work. I worried about what worked. And what I learned was the ecosystem had resources that could help my nonprofit or help my startup build capacity. But I had to understand what the problem was. And the problem I saw, and the problem still exists, is that the average founder is unaware of the ecosystem and how they can leverage it to build capacity and shift to a revenue stage. And because I started off pitching my product, my AI product, and everybody was saying, "Man, you're passionate. You're this and that. You're passionate." But they could see I didn't have any capacity to build what I was telling them that I had the idea to build. And that's what the saying is, make sure you're working on the right problem. And so you can know how to design a solution for it. And then this is the AI era. Go out and automate all the processes before you hire anybody. And to me, that's a really neat thing, is because if you hire somebody and they don't know what to do, you paying for them sitting around trying to figure out what to do. And then data before narrative. And so I'll share some of the tools, like I said, with the workflow we're using, and I'll show you how I generated these charts and had my graphic guy do a little editing. And so, like, for example, I have, for a nonprofit here, we have 3 people working part-time, and we partnered with a VR contractor, and he's supplying us with a developer to develop software, a computer scientist. He's paying for us for a generative graphic designer who edits all our videos, and so on and so forth. And so that's partnering to build capacity for our small nonprofit. And then we have another IT guy that's helping us out with that. But it's part of our Innovation Skills Initiative program that we partner with Florida State. We partner with Goodwill, tons of other partners to help us fulfill that part of our deal. So I hope this thing, and you all will have access to all the stuff I'm showing you tonight, and I'll put it in the chat here in a little bit. Okay, Sam, glad to see you back and here. And so but yeah, all of this stuff. If you ever decided to do a nonprofit, but you don't already have one, literally, I can tell you what I learned from my startup when my wife and I started this nonprofit 10 years ago. I literally used the same playbook. It's the exact same playbook. So we partner with Google, we partner with Microsoft. We don't have to pay for our Google workspace. We got the Microsoft products. We don't have to pay for them. We got cloud service from Microsoft. It's the exact same playbook I used in the startup world. And so it's just literally knowing the resources that help you build capacity. Let's see, and this one hits home for me. This burnout thing, and I got a neat video on that. And so when you passion leads to burnout. So if you're trying to do all the work, all the stuff, and you haven't automated your stuff, and I'll show you why this thing is that way. It's not your fault. And so I'm looking forward to sharing the insight we found on that. And all these, I leverage AI to build this stuff that I'm showing you right now. And so it's like Cheryl in December asked me to participate on a nonprofit partnership panel, and so I as always, when I attend a workshop or a meeting, I record it, and then I analyze the transcript in ChatGPT or some of the other ones, and I take that information, the transcript and stuff, the way I analyze it, and dump it over in Notebook LM, and that's where all these charts are coming from. I'll show you a couple of the notebooks, and hopefully it'll help you get some insight on that. But literally, your passion will lead to burnout if you don't become aware of some of these processes. So the solution: build the foundation, the funding will follow. And so achieve clarity first, build capacity, prioritize relationships. So that's on the right here. Like I said, I'll have this. I think I'll go ahead and pull that deal up here where I can share these links so you all can get access to the stuff. And I will be adding more stuff to this. So this right here is a Google Drive folder that has all the stuff I'm showing you tonight. So take advantage of that and move forward here. So putting that in the chat there. So grab a hold of that. Any questions out there so far? Feel free to ask. If be glad to answer any questions. So literally, the way I think is, if I'm responsible for doing something, or if I got a project, I just leverage resources, and in order to move forward. So let's watch our first video here, if no questions. And like I said, don't hesitate to, you can ask me a question about nonprofits or startups. So don't hesitate to do either. Okay, so let's start here. So this is a video that's talking about clarity before funding. So listen up.
All right, let's talk about the nonprofit world. You know, passion is everywhere, right? But so is burnout. It's almost a given. Today, we're going to dig into why that happens. And here's a spoiler. The answer isn't just get more funding. It's about a total shift in how we think about building organizations that actually last.
Okay, this quote right here, it really just nails it. I mean, if you've ever poured your heart and soul into a mission, just to feel like you're spinning your wheels, you gotta hear this. It reframes the whole thing. This isn't about you failing, it's about the system being broken.
And that broken system, it leads directly to what we're gonna call the passion trap.
Oh man, this cycle is probably gonna look painfully familiar to a lot of you. It starts with all this amazing passion, right? But when you don't have a solid system backing you up, that passion just fizzles. It leads straight to burnout. And from burnout, it's a short trip to just feeling frustrated and defeated. It's this soul-crushing loop, and way too many good leaders get caught in it. So, okay, if passion isn't the problem, then what is? What's the thing that's really holding organizations back? Well, it all comes down to what we're calling the real bottleneck: capacity. Now this slide right here, this is the big one. This is the mindset shift that every single nonprofit leader needs to have. We're all taught to think we just need more funding. That's the myth. But the hard truth? It's not about funding. It's about capacity. It's about your actual ability to get stuff done and deliver results.
And listen to this, because it's a total game changer. Funders aren't really buying your great idea or how much need there is. What they're actually buying is your capacity. They're investing in your proven ability to do the work. That's it.
When you think about it, the whole system is built to reward organizations that can prove they can execute. So a lack of funding, that's usually just a symptom. The real disease is a gap in your capacity. Okay, so you're probably thinking, great, but how do I build capacity when I'm already stretched super thin, right? Well, this brings us to probably the most powerful strategy in the whole playbook: using partnerships as a multiplier. And let's be super clear here. We're not talking about just schmoozing at networking events. A real strategic partnership is different. It's a formal deal where you actually borrow capacity from another organization to hit shared goals. See the shift? You stop asking for money and start building your ability to actually do the work.
And the process is actually pretty straightforward. Step 1, you got to be brutally honest with yourself. What can't you do? Identify that capacity gap. Step 2, find a partner, a capacity multiplier, who already has what you need. Maybe it's people, maybe it's systems, whatever. Then step 3, you join forces and deliver something amazing that neither of you could have done on your own.
And these capacity multipliers, they're literally everywhere once you start looking. Think about it. You've got workforce programs that need to place people in jobs. You've got universities that need research partners. You've got big national groups like AmeriCorps that can give you actual human beings to do the work. These aren't just names in your phone. They are partners who can totally change the scale of what you can achieve.
Okay, so once you start building your capacity through these kinds of partnerships, you are in a way stronger position. But there's one more crucial piece to this whole puzzle, and that's getting absolute clarity before you even think about funding.
So many nonprofits think they have a grant writing problem, but they don't. What they really have is a grant readiness problem. You know, think of it this way. The grant application itself, that's the final exam. It's not the textbook you study from. It's all the prep work you do beforehand that actually determines if you pass.
And this right here, this is the ultimate gut check. Seriously, this one sentence has the 3 questions every single funder is asking. What do you do? How do you do it? And who does the work? If you can't answer those 3 things clearly without a bunch of jargon, well, it tells them you're not ready, and the answer's gonna be no.
So how do you get that kind of clarity? It's not about having a 50-page binder full of data. It's about being able to nail the answers to a very specific set of questions. And believe it or not, there aren't that many of them.
Just 8. That's it. There are 8 core questions that basically every funder, every accelerator, every government agency asks over and over again. And they're not random questions. They map directly to your business model. They want to know, what's the problem? What's your solution? Who's on your team? How do you deliver it? How do you measure success? Together, they paint the whole picture of your organization. Honestly, if you can answer those 8 questions clearly on one single page, you're ready for pretty much anything they can throw at you. Okay, so let's pull all this together. We've got capacity, we've got partnerships, we've got clarity. Let's see how they all build up to the big prize, designing true sustainability. And we have to talk about the people, the human cost of all this. Burnout is a genuine epidemic in the nonprofit world. But this quote, it just reframes it so perfectly. Burnout isn't about you caring too much. It's about you caring too much. It's not a personal failing. It's a systems failing. It's when one person is left holding the weight that a good system should be supporting for them. And that means real sustainability. It's not just about money in the bank. It's emotional. It's about building strong systems, like the partnerships we talked about, like having clear processes that protect the most valuable thing you have, your people.
And this whole idea of sustainability has to go even further, all the way to the community you're working with. There's a huge difference here. You can serve a community from the outside, making decisions for them. But to truly empower a community, that means shared planning, shared payroll, shared power. It's the difference between doing something for a community and doing something with them.
You know, this quote right here really ties this whole thing together. We spend so much time chasing the money, thinking that's the answer to everything. But it's not. Money doesn't create strong nonprofits.
Clarity, capacity, and partnerships do. When you build those things first, the funding follows. It's a result, not the cause.
So, we're going to leave you with one last question, a big one. Take this back to your team and really think about it. If your organization just vanished tomorrow, could you clearly explain the impact that would be lost? If you can answer that clearly and compellingly, then you're not just ready for a grant, you're on the path to building something that truly lasts.
Yes, yes, yes. All righty. So hope that information was helpful. And I want to show you now the notebook where that video came from. And so for those of you not familiar with Notebook LM, all you have to do is just type Notebook LM into a Google Chrome browser, and it will connect automatically to your Gmail account. And so if you see, it has 3 parts. The sources on the right, And let me click this. And so this particular notebook has one source. This one source here actually has information that the video. Now, if you look at this source, it's almost unbelievable. It's not much information in it as I scroll down. And so that's what the deal over here. So you load up all your, what I do is I would load up the transcript. So this was related to a partnering for nonprofit thing that Cheryl had hosted in December 14th. And so I think this was probably a result of one of my prompts. And I just added this over here just as a source, but I think the actual notebook may have 3 or 4 sources. But basically what I did, I recorded the panel, I recorded the audience asking questions, and I used that as a source. All my transcripts, I put them over in ChatGPT, and I would I have a prompt. I call it the Lenitra prompt from one of our founders, but all it really amounted to in the beginning was whenever I have a transcript or from a meeting or a workshop, wherever I'm at, a conference or whatever, I would typically take that transcript from that recording, and my prompt would say, what are the action items from, or no, the key takeaways from this particular transcript article. Then I would say, what are the insights from this source? And then I would say, what are the actions I need to take from that? So that's how I was going right along. But when I learned about Lenika's approach, I had the ChatGPT upgrade my prompt using Lenika's approach, and so it does very thorough analysis of the transcripts, and I also use that but I would upload the results of that here as well. Now, if you're not familiar with Notebook LM, you come over here and it's got the chat there in the middle. You can ask it any questions and it answers based on what you have over here in the sources. Now, over here, and I'll show you a couple of things here, but anyway, you see you got audio overviews. This is the podcast, and this is literally my favorite feature because when the podcast starts playing, you can, 2 people are talking about whatever the source is, and it literally synthesizes all the information. And so the landing page for a Notebook LM, it says understand anything. So I 100x, almost 1,000x my learning just based on this one tool alone. And so it's very helpful. Yeah. And then you can create a slide deck. And you notice they got the pencil things on here. And then the video overview is just what I showed you. So the video that I showed you is this one right here, this nonprofit sustainability. Yeah, and I'll show you the version of, let's see, yeah, this passion one. I probably won't show that, but it was talked about well enough in the other one. But so you can make infographics. If you're a student, you can do quizzes and flashcards, and you can also do a data table. So what I want to show you is the reports one real quick, and I'll show you a little trick I learned today, as a matter of fact. So if you notice, these are the standard things you can do. You can create your own report, a briefing document, a study guide. But if you notice down here, it creates some reports based on the actual documents you have in your source. And so, so I typically would just click on these and have it generate these. But what I found was interesting is if you click on the pencil and look at the prompt for that particular source, it says a strategic guide to outline how nonprofits can utilize external partnerships. So I literally copy that. Let's see if I can copy it here, and I'll demonstrate how I'll use it. Let's see. Bear with me here. Okay, so I'm copying that, So that's what it would do, the report. But I'm not going to generate the report now. But I could go over here to this infographic, and click the pencil, and I can put that same prompt in here, cut and paste it in there. So produce a strategic guide to. So I would say produce a infographic. I can spell. Strategic guide that guides and outlines how nonprofit can do that. But if I could do the same thing with the video, I could come here and paste that prompt in the video, and then it's gonna, as you see now, it's actually generating that graphics. And I'll show you while that's generating, I'll show you the other notebook real quick. Now, this particular notebook, it's about nonprofit architecture, the 2025 leadership playbook. But what's interesting about this, I used my historic pattern engine to research how nonprofits have evolved from the 1990s to the 2025. And so what I did was I took the results from that prompt, took the ChatGPT results from that prompt and put them here. And I analyzed the results from that ChatGPT prompt and with the Lanicha method and put that here, the results of that here, did the same thing in Claude, same thing in Gemini, and the same thing in Chat. And so, so I got a thorough analysis of the results of that research. And I ran all that, all this stuff I do over here when I run that prompt, I run in a deep research mode. But as you can see, you come over here, you got the studio over here. And so I produce all of these things as a result of that. But the thing I want to emphasize to everyone is during this approach, it helps you learn a lot faster. I'm not sure if this will work, but I'll just try it for a second. So it may take a second to load while it's loaded. And so, and like I said, can you all hear that? Somebody give me a thumbs up or something in the chat. In the comments. But what I do is I go and click that interactive thing, and then I click the play button, and then so I click join, and I don't know if you can hear me, but it'll pop up saying want to use my microphone. And so what's this source material all about? And then it'll stop me. Stop me. So, but I don't think I shared my deal there. Let's see what. So I got a question here. Let's see what this question is. Oh, for sure, it's a link. So yeah, you can definitely access. But I would just access it and bookmark it now if I were you, so you don't have to go back looking for it. And you can actually download the stuff. You can download the whole folder if you want. So that's the thing you have to. So it's there for you. Let's see if that other thing has generated. So you see this infographic has generated, and you remember how I put the. Let's see, can we blow it up just a little bit here? So you see, so it was a strategy for based on partnering, and so it created this infographic in a matter of minutes. And so to help you understand, so you can, based on whatever you have in the sources, you can use the pencil to kind of edit and tailor the thing over here. So when you put your startup stuff in here, if you're part of our program, you have you get the template to the pitch deck, and so you literally can paste that prompt in here, say, please create me a slide deck based on this following template, and it'll generate the stuff. And you can also, there's a way you can have it use your graphics and everything. So, yeah, so that's a really neat capability. So this is the workflow I use to help founders understand anything, and also help me understand anything. Can you imagine this one little small file here, all the stuff that's being generated from that one little small file? But what you got to realize is it's constrained to what's on here, but it's giving you examples that may not actually be in here. So does anybody have any questions about how to use Notebook LM? And there's a million ways to use it. So this is just my way of using it, because we're all about helping founders and helping students who want to do some upskilling, help them learn their approach. So I'm going to shut up here, and let's see if I can find another video to kind of show you real quick here. Get to my media. Okay, so let's see. I'll just skip to this one. Oh no, I think this one is.
All right, let's get right into it. If you're a nonprofit leader, have you ever felt like you're just constantly running on a treadmill, pouring your heart and soul into your work, but feeling like you're always on the verge of breaking? Well, today we're going to dive into exactly why that happens, and more importantly, what a totally new way of thinking, an architectural mindset, can do about it. And let's just kick things off with this quote, because wow, it really hits the nail on the head. This one sentence perfectly captures the tension that so many of you are living with every single day. Look, the problem isn't that you're behind the times. The problem is there's a fundamental, jarring mismatch between the world you're operating in today and the funding system that was built for yesterday. And that leads us straight into what we're calling the fragility paradox. I mean, think about it. How can a whole sector filled with some of the most brilliant, passionate, dedicated people on the planet be designed in a way that makes so many of its organizations feel like they're perpetually fragile, always just one crisis away from collapse?
Yeah, we see this absolutely everywhere. People are burning out, organizations are unstable. So what is really going on here? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. This fragility, it's not an accident.
This is where we get this incredible concept, engineered fragility. It's the idea that this vulnerability isn't your fault as a leader. It's a predictable, almost inevitable outcome of the system's design. It's baked right in. But here's the hopeful part. If it was designed, it can be redesigned. And the very first step in that redesign is figuring out where to actually focus our energy.
Okay, so if we're gonna redesign this thing, we've got to make sure we're fixing the right problem. So often, we blame the wrong things, and that just keeps us stuck in this endless cycle of frustration.
Now, this table is super helpful for getting that clarity. Let's break it down. On the left, you've got the structural stuff. These are kind of the unchangeable rules of the game, right? Things like grant cycles, restricted funding. You don't have much control over those. But on the right, that's where your power is. Those are the strategic choices. That's how you decide to play the game within those rules. And this is the trap so many of us fall into. We say things like, oh, I can't innovate because my grant reporting is so burdensome. But the real question is, within that constraint, are we strategically choosing to prioritize things like automation or deep community listening? Or are we hesitating on the moves that we actually can control?
And that's the bottom line, isn't it? As soon as you get crystal clear on what you can't control versus what you absolutely can, you stop blaming yourself or the system unfairly. You start to see a real path forward. You know, that clarity, it's power.
So once you have that clarity about what you can actually influence, you start to see this much deeper pattern emerge. It points us toward a huge fundamental shift in thinking that is absolutely required to thrive in this modern era.
For decades, the nonprofit world has been all about activity. You know, delivering the services, running the programs, helping one person at a time. It's that noble, hands-on, day-in, day-out work that gets us out of bed in the morning.
But here's the game-changing shift. The real transformation happens when you move to an architecture orientation. This is about stepping back from just doing the work to designing the engine that does the work.
It's about building a durable, resilient system, not just running a really busy program.
And honestly, this changes everything. Your whole identity shifts. You're no longer just a service provider, you become an impact architect. You're not just running a food bank, you're architecting a system to tackle food insecurity. You're scaling systems, not just hiring more staff. You're building learning loops, not just checking boxes on compliance reports. So, if you're going to be an architect, you're going to need a new blueprint. That old sequence, get an idea, find funding, hire people, deliver the service, that's the very thing that creates the engineered fragility we talked about.
The modern playbook basically flips that old model on its head. And look at the order here, this is key. You listen and gather evidence before you build. You automate before you hire for volume. You validate the demand before you even write the grant. This whole sequence is designed for resilience and learning from the get-go, not just for activity.
You can think of it like building a house. It's all about the layers. You have to start with a solid foundation, which is layer 1, clarity. Then you build the walls, layer 2, stability. You can't just jump to layer 3, leverage, you can't put the roof on until the rest of the structure is sound. The sequence here matters a lot. And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory. We are seeing the consequences of weak architecture play out in real time, especially with new tech. Take AI. Get this. Over 85% of nonprofits are exploring AI right now, but less than a quarter of them actually have a formal strategy for it. That massive gap, that is a classic architectural problem. You see, without that stable architecture we just talked about, a powerful new tool like AI doesn't become a point of leverage. It just becomes another source of stress. It's like you can't just bolt a jet engine onto a wooden cart and expect it to fly. So what does this all mean for you? Where does this leave you, the founder, the funder, the board member? Because understanding this model isn't just some interesting intellectual exercise. No, it's a mandate. It's a call to fundamentally rethink your role. Everybody has a critical part to play in this shift. For founders, it means you have to truly embrace that transition from just providing a service to being the architect of a system. For funders, you've got to invest in the core infrastructure that actually makes impact last, not just the flashy programs. And for boards, you have to level up. You have to go beyond simple compliance and really learn to govern in this new tech-driven reality.
So we're going to leave you with this one final question to really chew on. Your organization is an architecture. The question is, are you the architect consciously designing it for resilience and impact? Or are you just living in a fragile building that was designed by someone else a long time ago? It's a challenge for sure, but it's a call to take control and start building the future your mission truly deserves.
Cool. All righty. So I showed you this drive thing here that linked to that, and it basically gets you these files in this folder. And while that video was playing, I had an idea, and what I would do if I were you, I would download all of these assets here, and upload them, use them to create a notebook, LM notebook, and then have it generate some videos and some infographics, and also have it, and you can actually chat with it as well. But as you see, there's quite a bit of stuff in here. Let's see, you got those images, and you have a couple PDFs that I don't know if I have time to skim through those, but they are very helpful to you as well. I may skim through one of them here, but yeah. So just that's what's in that file. And so what I wanted you to know, there's a lot of resources you can get by being a part of our Founders Insight program, like prompts. And I'll show you one of the prompts that you'll get that should be a big help to you. So join our Founder Insights program. So basically, this Founder Insight program is taking all the stuff learned over the past more than 10 years and kind of bundle it in. And so, and this is if you haven't already ran our business idea prompt, and I showed this several times, and once you get in our program, you definitely get access to it. But I think the average person doesn't realize the significance of it. It's literally based on the Lean Stack framework, the whole process that the Lean Stack framework takes you through, but it does it in a deep research mode. If you do it in a deep research mode, you know, in 20 to 30 minutes, in most cases, you have, like, I ran this for a business idea last night, and I ran it in Claude, and the results are it's like 45 pages, but it's basically doing all the stuff that you need to do, but you run this prompt, and all you have to do is give it right, summarize your business idea. Don't give away any proprietary information. It's nothing more than what you would put on a website. That's the way you look at it. And people worry about what they put in AI, but like, if you got to put a website up, if you don't tell people what you do, how are you going to get any customers? It's not about trying to give away your idea. When you put up a website, that is your idea. Come on, you everybody, and you give your industry, and that information goes in between these brackets here. But you also have the alternative. We give you the instructions on how to use it. But what I'm telling you, and you take the results of this, running this prompt, and you dump it up in a Notebook LM. You got all your graphics to explain what you can generate, all the graphics to explain what you do. You can, but what I put it in there for is actually to understand better understand my business model, because this prompt literally goes out and finds all the information about the industry, the pain points of the stakeholders in that industry. It goes out and finds out all the ways you can make money solving those pain points. It creates your business model. It creates your pitch. Creates your rollout plan. It goes out and does the demand validation. Just on and on. So I'll just scroll through here. It's just, and as you can see in here, it used that Lanika method, and so if you're smart, once you got the prompt, I would prompt analyze this prompt here and say, what is the Lanika method, and then once it explains what the Lanika method is, I would go out and tell it to upgrade all my prompts, because you can see. This is what the Lanika method does for you. I used to just get the stakeholders and the pain points, but when I upgraded to the Lanika method, it does the emotional impact and business impact, and it's just you just get a lot more. To be honest with you, what this Lanika method does, it stops ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude from lying to you. It literally stops these things from telling you what you want to hear. And so that's the honest God truth. And so it literally help you. But anyway, so you can see all the steps that got in there. It would take months and months and months to do all this if you had to do it manually. And so it simulates it generates your landing page information, your marketing information, all of that stuff. And if you continue on after it finished, you can have it generate logos and everything else, because it's got all the information that it needs to do that. So it's literally that powerful. So once you join our program, you did I put let me make sure I put that in the chat. Yeah, I did. So got the nonprofit success kit. Let's see what else I got. Looks like I got a question here too. Yeah, so yeah, join our Insights program, and you get access to the prompt here as well. And before I show at least one other video. I'm going to go back to my document here. And so next month, we're having a Founders Innovations Summit and Tour. And so in person, we'll be handling up to 100 people, but online we can handle up to 1,000 people. So you don't have any excuse for not doing so. Just set the time aside, and I'll go ahead and put this in the chat as well. And the good thing, what you should do, even if you have a conflict, and I told people this last year, you sign up anyway, because if you don't sign up, you don't get access to the videos or any of that stuff. If you don't sign up, you're not going to get access to all these AI agents that we created to help you out in all these prompts to move you forward. So you got some real good incentives to do that. And so I'll click on this link just to get it to go here. And so to give you a little bit of an idea of what we got planned for you. So let's come down. So you can come down on the agenda here. So we kick off with the reception on Friday evening. And so this is where you get to meet all the speakers. You get to meet all the mayor, the sheriff, the police chief. You get to meet all the, you as a founder, or you don't have to be a founder to attend, but but this is the exciting part. This is all part of the, we partner with the Black Innovation Leaders of Florida. So it's part of the innovation tour. We're one of the tour stops. So that's Friday afternoon. Saturday the 18th, we kick off with breakfast. So you get a breakfast. And then so instead of a regular keynote this year, we're going to have some professional athletes come in and do a panel, Are You Coachable? So that should be good. We got, so when I say world class, you're going to really be shocked when you see who's all going to be participating on that panel. And then getting your business ready for AI. It's a hands-on session. Rose, she's here every year to support us, and I'm jealous of her because she's headed out to the NVIDIA conference. I think it's maybe next week or something. But then this is going to be really fantastic. Dr. Valencia Bell, she's the founder and CEO of Schools. Her company is endorsed by NFL, to all these Ivy League schools, and she's took her business international. She's got a B Corp, and so she was on last year, I think a little less than a year ago, and we talked a little bit afterwards, and she took my advice on the AI stuff, and she went out and got it done. So she's going to share her story on how. When I tell you how powerful, because she created a method, test-taking method that changes people's lives, and allow them to get in different colleges and allow them to get this. It just impacts so many things. But she's literally is leveraging AI to kind of duplicate her efforts all over the world. And so, but she's the lady that I had on that wins almost every pitch competition that she gets in. But the crazy thing was she only got in the pitch competition so she can learn how to pitch her business. And then the judges that were judging the pitch competition, most of them joined her startup, and so to help her grow her startup. That's how powerful this lady is. And so we're going to have Sabola Frazier. She gave the keynote at last day. She did an excellent job. So she does a lot of workshops. So she's creating, show you how to create agents to support that kind of stuff. Of course, we're always going to do the funding stuff. And the closing session is going to be on how to use AI the right way. So definitely go ahead and sign up using the link there. Don't hesitate, because we record everything, and if you don't, if you can't make it or you can't be there to watch it online, sign up anyway, so you'll get the links to the videos. That's what's important there. So what I'm going to do is close with a video that sort of pulls everything together, what I've been saying here. So let me just find that. But after the video, we'll sign off. But I just want to thank you all for showing up and join in, because we're here to help you and get you moving forward on what you're doing. So
all right, let's jump right in. We're going to explore a really powerful idea today. What if nonprofits could operate with the same kind of strategic playbook that the most successful startups use? Now, this isn't just about growing bigger. It's about designing for real, lasting impact and building organizations that are genuinely resilient. You know, when we think of the startup world, we think of leverage, of explosive growth, right? But can we actually apply those same principles, lean operations, scalable systems, ecosystem thinking, to solving the world's biggest, most complex problems? Well, the answer is a huge yes. And it all starts with a major shift in how we think. Now, I get it. This is a pretty provocative statement. Fragility is a design choice. But it gets right to the heart of the matter. That feeling of vulnerability so many nonprofits have, the constant hustle for funding, the risk of burnout, that's not just part of the deal of doing social good. The argument here is that it's actually the result of playing by an old, outdated rulebook. Okay, so to really get this new playbook, we first have to understand why the old one is so broken. And it's so important to see that this is a systemic issue. It's a set of broken rules we've all been playing by. This isn't about blaming individual leaders. At the absolute core of this old playbook is this really devastating dynamic called the nonprofit starvation cycle. It's a trap, and a lot of organizations fall into it without even realizing how the system is set up. Let me just show you exactly how this thing works. So check this out. It's a loop that just feeds on itself. It starts at step 1. Funders demand super low overhead. So what happens? In step 2, nonprofits feel the pressure and they underinvest in the really important stuff, like technology, staff training, or just paying people a decent wage. And you can guess what happens next. Step 3, program quality starts to suffer. People burn out, the tech fails, and the very community they're there to serve gets inconsistent support. Which brings us to step 4. This just confirms the funder's original bias, so they tighten the restrictions even more. It is a vicious cycle that literally engineers fragility into the system. So this cycle creates 2 totally different ways of thinking about the work. On the left, you've got the legacy mindset. It's all about survival and compliance. The main question is, how do we meet our grant requirements? But on the right, you have the modern mindset. This one is all about leverage and impact. The question here is, how do we get the absolute most impact for every single dollar we have? And that right there is the big shift, from thinking like a service provider to thinking like a startup founder. Now, the good news is this shift is already happening. It's really been a 35-year evolution, a slow move away from that scarcity mindset to what we can call an architect's mindset. Let's take a look at how this has actually played out, because it's a story about a massive change in identity for the whole sector. This wasn't some overnight change. It's been unfolding for decades. And the words we use tell the whole story. Before the 90s, we talked about charities, right? They were seen as just recipients of goodwill. Then we got nonprofits, defined by what they're not. In the 2000s, social enterprise came along and brought this focus on revenue. By the 2010s, we were impact organizations, all driven by data. And today, the leading organizations are becoming impact architects. They're ecosystem leaders, co-designers of change. They're not just running a single program anymore, they're orchestrating solutions across an entire community. And just to be clear, this is not just about changing words. This move from grant recipient to impact architect is a huge rebalancing of power. It's a shift away from seeing organizations as begging for resources, to recognizing them as strategic designers who have the critical knowledge, the relationships, and the data that funders actually need to achieve their own missions. So what does this new playbook actually look like when you put it into practice? Let's get into the good stuff and explore some of the most powerful, game-changing plays that these impact architects are using right now. you'll notice the modern sequence totally flips the traditional logic on its head. Instead of just building something and then hoping the funding comes, impact architects follow a very deliberate order. They start with deep community listening to co-design solutions with the people they serve. Then they gather evidence with small, low-cost experiments before they even think about scaling up. They actively hunt for partnerships to avoid reinventing the wheel. And, this is a big one, they look to automate tasks before they just go out and hire more people. This creates an organization that can bend under pressure instead of breaking. Okay, and a massive part of this new playbook is using technology, especially AI. But look at this chart. There is a staggering gap here. Check out the bar on the left. Almost 86% of nonprofits say they're exploring AI tools. Pretty good, right? But now look at the right. Less than a quarter of them have a formal strategy for how to use it. This isn't a problem. It's the single biggest opportunity in the entire sector right now. The smartest organizations are closing this gap by totally reframing what AI is. They don't see it as a threat that's coming for their jobs. Instead, they see it as a dividend of time. So picture a case manager. Instead of spending hours every single week scheduling appointments and filing reports, AI just handles that. That's a dividend. That's 5, maybe 10 hours a week that they get back to spend face-to-face with clients, building trust and solving really complex problems. And the tangible benefit? Well, here it is. A lean team augmented with AI can achieve what used to require a much bigger staff. We're talking about potentially reducing per-person costs by up to 70%. I mean, that is the definition of capital-efficient impact. Doing more and doing it better with the resources you already have. This quote just nails the message for every single team out there. Let the machines handle the repetitive stuff, the data crunching, the scheduling. That frees up us, the humans, to do what we do best. Build trust, listen with empathy, and make those strategic judgment calls that no algorithm can ever replicate. The whole point of technology isn't to replace us, it's to elevate us. Okay, so this playbook is evolving, and it's evolving fast. The real question for every leader, every board member, every funder is how to evolve with it. And this isn't about throwing everything out and starting from scratch. It's about making the next most strategic upgrade to your organization's operating system. So this all comes down to one final question for you. When you look at your own organization, at the work you do, what is the single highest leverage move you can make starting today to modernize your playbook and truly architect the future of your impact?
All right. So does anybody have any questions before we sign off here? I hope this was helpful, and always love to share, but I tell you, we've got a lot of, we've held close to 300 or more of these sessions from interviewing founders and ecosystem organizations. So we got a lot of knowledge that we've captured over the years, and we definitely not trying to hoard it. So if you really want to learn about building startups and nonprofits in the modern way, and leveraging resources, leveraging the ecosystem, and not just be out there spinning our wheels. That's what we're here to do, to help. And we're at the point now with AI where we'll be able to make these tools way more accessible to you than we have been able to in the past. Looking forward to having Cheryl on next week, and then the following week we'll have Ray back on with some more AI stuff as we journey closer to the Founders Innovation Summit and Tour. It's a lot of fun. We always have a lot of good food if you can come in person. We got folks traveling from all over to come, speakers, and I'll be putting the speakers up on the website by next week, and so hopefully you all can participate in that. Look forward to seeing you next week. Reach out if you got any questions. Don't hesitate. Yeah. See you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.